erase you out of the frame and put your name to shame. Cover up your face. You can't run the race. The pace is too fast. It just won't last. You love the way I look at you while taking pleasure in the awful things you put me through. You take away if I give in. My life, my pride is broken.
Talladega Super Speedway lives up to its name. Of all the closed-circuit motorsports facilities in the world where sanctioned auto races are held, it is the fastest. Constructed by the France family 10 years after Daytona International Speedway, Talladega was built slightly longer at 2.66 miles and with steeper banking at 33 degrees, which guaranteed record-setting speeds. The pole speed for NASCAR's first race in 1969, a stunning 199.46 miles per hour, almost 30 miles per hour faster than the Indy cars were then lapping at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Rule changes in 1987 meant that Bill Elliott's 212.809 mile per hour lap will likely stand forever as the qualifying record at Talladega and for NASCAR. Talladega is still the fastest track on the schedule as it holds the record for the fastest 500-mile stock car race at 188.3 miles per hour. Mark Martin's winning speed in May of 1997 produces some of the most exciting door-to-door racing every year. Talladega puts on 5 separate race events each year as host to the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Craftsman Trucks, and ARCA. And tonight, it's the Lonestar Racing Cup Series presented by AMCO Transmissions in their season finale. It's next on HBR TV.
You can't run the race. The pace is too fast. It just won't last. You like to think you're never wrong. You live what you do. You have to.
Race details for tonight: 75 laps, the race distance, 82-degree ambient temperature, 59% humidity, overcast skies, and relatively breezy at 14 miles per hour. Track temperature 109 degrees Fahrenheit, not likely to cause any issues for these drivers here this evening. They will have one faster pair to work with if needed, and we have 3 opportunities at a green-white checkered finish if necessary. It is Talladega. There's certainly that chance that we run into that here this evening. Practice just about wrapped up. A couple of minutes to go. Drew Blaze, fastest time thus far, ahead of Ken Couch, Alfie Sharon, Brian Rose, and the 23 of Dustin Rogerson. Again, all these times in records, I guess you could call them, here at the Speedway right now, all from draft-style racing here at the facility, I guess you could call it. Not a single car run by any means. Obviously, these drivers are working together in the draft. 2 cars certainly split that wind resistance between the 2. They're going to go faster. You'll see much slower times when we get to qualifying here in just a moment or 2. car field here tonight. Looks like some pit stop practice underway as well. Just about 10 seconds left before we see the black and red flags on practice. We'll jump right into qualifying right after. There it is. Drew Blaze wins the practice session by a couple hundredths of a second over Ken Couch. See if he can back that up here in qualifying momentarily. So it looks like Matt Crockett will be the first driver to roll. or at least at the end of pit lane. Just parks it, so we'll try somebody else. Maybe Nick Biddy, yes, the number 32 Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Now, the natural inclination here is to say that lap 2 is going to be faster, but that's not always the case. We have seen some drivers able to get that first lap in and have it be their better of the two. The reason behind that is you get the race car out on the track, get those Goodyear Eagles rolling, you're creating heat and friction. What does heat do? Specifically to air pressure, makes it go up. Air pressure makes that tire grow, which in turn makes the race car just that much taller, sticks that rear spoiler in the air just more than you want it to be. So in some instances, that first lap can be faster. Already a couple of stream chatters. Cody Dean, we had Ginger Parent, Matt Sisler, and LSR Gaming X. Pretty sure that's Justin Johnson saying hello. Thanks for checking in early, guys. I do appreciate that. So Biddy on his first timed lap. Not really locking the car down on that yellow line. First lap in the books for Nick Biddy, 53.251. Provisional pole sitter for the time being. Alfie Charon in the number 9, working through the tri-oval. He is going to waste that first lap, I think intentionally. How do I know that? He's way up the racetrack at the end of that lap. Gives him a lap time of 54.04, comparative to the top time right now of 53.24. We'll see if Alfie's second lap is faster. This is kind of going to be our litmus test to see if those tire pressures coming up make a huge difference or not. Granted, his line on this racetrack varying quite a bit from that first lap, working the outside. Might have been almost a little bit too high on the racetrack. Sometimes if you get right up against the safer barrier, it can create a little bit of a drag issue and actually slow the car down a bit. A lot of guys like to straddle that upper line, those white broken lines at the top of the racetrack. This time through, Charon all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. Doesn't go down to the apron. Lap 2 for the 9. P1, 53.137. So lap 2 definitely faster for Alfie Charon. Chris Goins, the number 41 Popple Teams machine. Goins on his first timed lap. He's at the bottom of the racetrack. So Justin Johnson in the chat again says, thank you for all the great broadcasts you've done for us the past 2 years. Jason Blaney, wish I was going real fast and real left tonight, but either way, let's go fueled up for the W. Dan Parent says, love HBR TV broadcast. Go Dana Shepard. As Chris Goins crosses start finish. His lap time is third quick, 53.179. Nathan Lyon, the number 38 machine. Expanding a little bit further, we thought tonight was going to be our last broadcast with LSR, at least on the stock car side of things, for a little while. But my plans for next week were to be out of town for work. They have changed, so the Drought Buster race will still be covered here on HBR TV if all things go well. Listening to Nathan Lyon down the back straightaway, it almost sounds like he's not getting everything out of the race car. The RPM much lower than it was with some other drivers. Granted, he could be working in fifth gear, which is really going to hurt the lap time in the corners. That fifth gear, though, going to certainly be handy in traffic. Remember, they were running 48-second laps in practice. Granted, that was in the draft. Second lap for Nathan Line. 12th quick, 53.245. Zach Millett on his out lap. We'll check in with him shortly. Brian Rose on his first timed lap. Brian out of Bristol, Tennessee. Owner of Track Bar Media, which is adorned on his Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Courtesy, I believe, of Fahey Race Wraps. Rose into the tri-oval here to complete his first lap. Where does the 89 land? Third quick, 53.161 for Brian Rose. We'll check on Zach Millett, who's down the back straightaway on the end of his first timed lap. Interesting to note, this particular race being the championship race of the season, Zach Millett did officially lock up the title last week. That's not why he's getting the benefit here tonight, but there will be no starting from pit lane here at Talladega Superspeedway for Zach Millett. However, he will receive an EOL at the start, so he's still going to have to go to the back, which in a place like Talladega, that's tough. As the 42 of Johnny DePasquale goes P1, 53.14 matches the time of Alfie Charon. Lap 1 for Millett, 18th quick, 53.397. Pretty close to where he's going to start this race regardless. We have had two more entries into the field, so a 23-car field tonight. Interesting for Matt Crockett. He had double elbow surgery at 0700 today, Mountain Time, and he's racing tonight. I guess it's Talladega. As long as the force feedback isn't turned up too high, he'll be just fine. Millett down to the apron of the racetrack. Haven't seen anybody do that just yet. There is some time to be gained as far as shortcutting. You just don't want to scrub too much speed. Across the line, Zach Millett. Does he improve? 11th quick, 53.195 for Zach Millett, just outside top 10. Just about everybody's completed their laps at this point. About a minute and a half remain in the session. PJ Cox looks to be getting ready to roll, but still sits at the end of pit lane. As it stands right now, the top 10 drivers all separated by 6/100ths of a second. PJ still sits at the end of pit lane. I don't think he's going to have enough time to get a lap in. So with that, we're going to step out, get a quick break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway. Qualifying is complete. Let's get a look at our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 53.136 seconds, it's the number 42 Fueled Up Motorsports machine of Johnny DePasquale. Outside front row, missed it by 1/1000th of a second. That's a factor of how much wind there may have been for a given moment. Alfie Charon will start outside front row. Row number 2, it's Dustin Rogerson in the number 23 with Brian Rose to his right elbow. Starting in the third row, it's Matt Crockett with Chris Goins. Starting 7th, it's the 21 of Jesse Redding with John Tiller, the number 27, starting in the 8th position. Michael Tucker with Right Turn Racing starts in the 9th spot with Matt Sisler rounding out the top 10. 11th starter will be going to the back of the field to start this race. It's the 315 of Zach Millett. Darren Jones will start in the 12th spot with Dana Shepard starting 13th. Joe David will start 14th. 15th starter is Chris Klein. 16th starter would be Nathan Line. Nick Biddy will roll from the 17th spot. Drew Prail 18th. 19th starter, it's PJ Cox in the 05 Lonestar Racing Machine. Drew Blaze will start in the 20th position. 21st, Ken Couch. 22nd, Sean Roberts. And last but not least, in the 23rd spot, the number 37 DEP Racing Machine of Josh Kelleher. It's your starting grid for the Talladega 75. Field still sits on the grid here, getting ready to roll for one pace lap. Will be green flag racing when they get back around. So you see the field still sitting on the front stretch, likely waiting for everyone to grid up. I think it was Mike Tucker slow to the grid. And slowly that pace car starts to roll. Once again, we'll look at the race details for tonight. 75 laps the race distance, 82-degree ambient temperature, 60% humidity, overcast skies, breeze settling down slightly at 11 miles per hour. Track temp is cooled off to 94 degrees Fahrenheit. 65% fuel load, one set of tires over the wall, one fast repair as well if necessary, and 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if that opportunity presents. Again, covering the penalties for tonight. Ironically, no penalties to speak of from last week at the Glen. Zach Millett not starting from pit lane, but will still receive the EOL. Start from the rear. And pretty much a pit road starting position at Talladega. Unless you get a real early caution, it's pretty much a coffin nail. That would end your race before it even got started. Even Zach Millett's going to need some help here. Pace car about to make the hard left down pit road. Way off in the distance. You can see how big this place is just with the size of that pit lane. Pace car is off. Remember, start finish is past pit out. Not right here where it would be for Daytona, but the green flag command is given. Everyone on throttle. We're racing for the final time this season at Talladega. trouble already. We got somebody around. It's Matt Crockett. No caution yet. There it is. Now we got the caution. Darren Jones with some significant damage. This is right off the start. It looked to me Nathan Lyon having trouble off turn number 2. Got a little crossed up. It started to bumper car everybody around, and I think the rest is history. Let's see if we can get a look if that was truly the case. Already our first caution of the night here at Talladega. Caution coming out a little bit late here, so they have to back this up, get a better look at things. That was the 27, not the 38. Similar paint schemes. Tiller was closing in on Chris Goins, had to check up a bit to not run into the back of him, and the 93 didn't get the message. Bumps into the 27, which sends him into 15 of Crockett. The rest is history. Crockett with a big hit on the driver's side. Blaze laying a patch of rubber down the inside, trying to keep from hitting the wall. Good job by the driver of the 1 to avoid. Does Millett get through this or not? The 44 Shepard just kind of parks it. Millett's going to thread the needle. I think he gets through here. Maybe scrapes the outside wall. Hard to tell. But here we go. Pit stops already here at Talladega Super Speedway. Fuel is important. We got some guys already opting to come down and pit. Ironically, it's our pole sitter, Johnny DePasquale. Got John Tiller, Matt Sisler, Joe David, Chris Klein, Nick Biddy, Darren Jones. I'd say the better part of half the field. Coming down for a quick splash and go. 93 of Matt Sisler. Didn't recognize that car at first. New paint scheme on the number 93. Still Apex Tech Racing supply on the back. So it's still Sisler. So that's going to give the top 3 positions to the HBR drivers of Alfie Charon, Brian Rose, and Chris Goins. Zach Millett after the EOL, already up into the top 10 in 9th. Drew Blaze up 6 positions in 14th. Again, a lot of that having to do with some of these pit stops. Looks like drivers like Darren Jones, Dana Shepard, Sean Roberts, Matt Crockett getting the worst end of this in this incident. But again, there was one fast repair for this particular race, so they're going to be able to use that early on. Of course, they're going to be without that added security before we get back going again, so they're going to have to run the bulk of this race without a safety net. Have yet to complete a lap in anger just yet, so the fastest time we've seen to this point, 1:22.86. That belongs to Zach Millett. Even under caution, he's the fastest guy out there. Gonna see some quick times, though, once we get back under green flag conditions. I think we're gonna get the 1 to go this time by. Alfie Charon trying to draft off that pace car. Don't know if that actually works. I know you can drive straight through them, as you can see Alfie getting into the cockpit of the pace car. So let's recap the top 10 currently. It's Alfie Charon, Brian Rose, Chris Goins, Dustin Rogerson, and Drew Prale 5th. Mike Tucker 6th, Jesse Redding, Ken Couch, Zach Millett, Josh Kelleher the top 10. Looks like Nathan Lyon and Matt Crockett still in the pits. I don't know if they didn't get those fast repairs checked. Could just be a top off for fuel again. That's very, very possible. Sean Roberts down pit lane again. Remember last week, Sean ran really well at the Glen. Still trying to overcome symptoms from a concussion. It does appear that through this caution, though, everyone was able to get the repairs completed without losing a lap. So we still have 23 cars on the lead lap as we get ready for yet another restart. This car is in.
Green flag.
Green flag back in the air. Charon's going to lead him down into turn number 1. Brian Rose will slot in behind. Millett swings way up the racetrack. He's now on the high side behind the 08 of Ken Couch. Outside line, it's the 23 of Dustin Rogerson making a charge to the outside of Brian Rose. Mike Tucker giving the 23 a push down the backstretch. He's going to have the lead here by the end of the back straightaway. Big time run, big time push. Mike Tucker knows how to push. Wow, did he make him move real fast down the back straightaway. I'm almost a loss for words here, but new leader into turn number 3, it's Dustin Rogerson. Mike Tucker in the second spot. Ken Couch third. Millett and Sharon now battling for the 4th spot. Rogerson maintains the top spot. Tucker still in behind. Third place, Alfie Charon, and the outside lane is led now by Alfie Charon as he switches it up, goes topside ahead of Ken Couch. Off turn number 2. Charon not content with riding in that second or third position. Ken Couch giving the night a big push down the back straightaway. 2 can play at that game. Charon using some assistance from the 08 to go back to the top spot. Takes it away from Rogerson. Rogerson now into the 3rd position alongside Zach Millett. Millett going to try and push Ken Couch here, maybe sneak him up into the lead. Top to bottom. Top feeds the bottom. It's like a Pez dispenser at 200 miles an hour. Except that's bottom to top. Who cares? Millett now to the race lead. Kelleher runs in the 2nd spot. Alfie Charon 3rd. Couch 4th. Tiller 5th. Now those of you looking at the number 73, that's actually the 37 of Kelleher. Now Ken Couch comes up to the top spot. He takes the lead. John Tiller slots into the 2nd position. outside line has a new front man. It's Chris Klein. He's looking to the inside, though. Everybody stays tucked in, follows him through. Joe David there in the 6th. Going to give Klein a push down the chute into turn number 1. Zach Millett pulls on a line, doesn't like what he sees. Meanwhile, Chris Klein, remember he was leading that outside lane? Well, now he's leading the whole pack. Single file for the top 10 at least. Back to the 38 and Nathan line. Gets strung out off turn number 2, switching things up a bit. Klein still with the lead. Battle for second, Joe David and Dana Shepard. Pole sitter Johnny DePasquale there in the 3rd spot after a big push from the 6. Sends Klein further down the road. Alfie Charon fighting his way back to the inside of DePasquale with help from Michael Tucker. Again, Tucker has shown early on that he's capable of pushing you out front at any point that he wants to. We'll see if he does it again. There you have it. Tucker pushes Charon back to the point into turn number 3. There were 3 wide for a moment. Doesn't last too terribly long. We'll see that more later on, I'm sure. And Cody Dean in the chat says, I missed the start. How were Millett's hot dogs? Well, some of those penalties went away for the final race of the season. He still had to start out back, but we had a caution on lap 1. So, well, Millett was leading, and now he's at the back. By choice. Didn't like what he saw up front, so he decided he'd get out of the hornet's nest for a little while. Still out front, though, Alfie Charon in front of Michael Tucker. Tucker pushing the 9 all the way through the corner. A little early for that. It's 12 laps in here. Settle down, son. Top 5 all single file on the bottom. Back in 6th, actually 6 top 6. Chris Klein single file on the bottom. On the outside, we've got Dana Shepard leading PJ Cox, Drew Blaze, and Ken Couch. See if they can get organized, maybe get some more numbers on that high line. Get together and see if they can put a challenge on the race leaders. Only 5 cars in that group. A little bit more on the bottom. You got a group in behind both of these little groups that can get together with either of them and make one larger than the other. Drew Blaze not going to be patient enough to wait for it to happen. He drops back to the inside, leaves the 2 drivers that were up in the front there, the 44 and the 05, Shepard and Cox, kind of all by themselves on their own island without a whole lot of help. They can maintain in that position, but they're not going to move forward a whole lot without a whole lot of drafting help. Outside of Joe David goes to 44 of Dana Shepard. PJ Cox taking a look. Shepard might want to slot down, but no, that opportunity goes away. He's going to look to the high side, tries to block the run from PJ Cox. Doesn't do it soon enough. Drew Blaze is right there to push the 05 around him. Now Shepard in the middle with no help. And Couch going to follow Drew Blaze. PJ Cox. Shepard's kind of on his own island trying to find a way to get in line. Top or bottom, it doesn't matter to him. He just needs some partners to dance with. Shepard switching lanes again. LSR veterans there in that line. BJ Cox, Drew Blaze, Ken Couch, Dana Shepard. Something you will see quite a bit on these super speedway races. Guys that have been racing together for a long time tend to gravitate towards one another. Those are the guys you know how they race. You know if they can handle themselves on these big tracks. Can they take a push? Can they give a push? Drew Prowl out of shape just a moment ago, was way up the racetrack. I don't think he got a piece of the wall, but definitely had a moment there. Big lift out of the 80. Had to tuck back in line, but here we go again. Now we've got some action at the front of the field, or mid-pack for that matter. Drew Prowl tucks in behind Zach Millett, tries to push him around the 44 of Shepard, but not a whole lot of numbers up top. The guy's not willing to go 3 wide just yet. Only 17 laps in. Again, a 75-lap race. It's going to go by in a hurry. But for Zach Millett, it's reckless abandon time. He's already got the championship locked up. He doesn't need to do anything from this point. He's just out here to try and win this race. So being conservative, well, that's probably just his political stance at this point. It has nothing to do with his actions in this race. Trouble. PJ Cox gets right hooked in front of the field. I think he got out of line for a quick second. And when he tried to go back, I think it was Drew Blaze was already in that spot. Now let's get a look, see what happened. Trying to get a better angle on it. That was good thing this is a sim, because that's fixing to be a really hard hit for the 05. That's too close. That's not going to work. This may do it. Yeah, so the 05 shoots to the inside of Drew Prowl for just a moment. Second guesses, a little hesitation out of the 05. Blaze tries to fill the void, thinking that's where he's going to go. I will say, everybody does a good job to avoid hitting the 05 after the fact. Can't really see it from that angle. Darren Jones still gets a piece of the wall, but does a great job to avoid contact with the 05. Well, pit stop's underway. Alfie Charon slides into his box, that number 2 pit stall. Here comes Johnny DePasquale into his pit stall. Fuel only again for the majority of these drivers. May have been the same for just about everybody. Dana Shepard may have taken 4 tires just because he can. So Alfie's going to be the first one out of pit lane, so he'll retake the top spot. Michael Tucker, Nathan Line, Drew Prale, John Tiller will be the top 5. Chris Klein 6th, Dustin Rogerson 7th, Ken Couch 8th, 9th, Johnny DePasquale 10th, Dana Shepard. Zach Millett spent about 28 seconds in the pits. I'm assuming he may have had some damage to get addressed. You don't know for sure if he took those tires or not. Again, not too sure it's even necessary to this point. Only got about 18 laps in, a couple of cautions to speak of. Tires, of course, here at Talladega Superspeedway, not hugely important by any means. Lap time certainly not going to be affected by it. However, the new tires do allow you to be a bit more aggressive with your maneuvers as far as lane changes and things like that. Top to bottom, bottom to top. Quick change of direction on old wore-out tires, that's where you run into some problems. But only one sat over the wall tonight, so we may see these guys wait a little bit later to bolt on fresh Goodyears. Tucker family in the chat as well says, man, Baby Tucker can push. He sure can. Baby Tucker is Michael Tucker, the driver of the number 39 machine. You know, the one with 2 numbers on the door. Joe Tucker's got to raise his allowance so he can afford Trading Paints Pro. So it appears we are on the 1 to go as the field begins to double up. Restart coming at lap 21. Be Charon, Michael Tucker, Nathan Line, Drew Prale, John Tiller, Chris Klein, your top 6. Pace car heads to pit lane. Field entering the tri-oval. Still 23 cars on the lead lap as we get ready for the restart.
Green flag.
And there it is, green flag in the air. We're back racing again from Talladega. Drew Prale pushing Mike Tucker awfully well through turns 1 and 2. It's upsetting the 39 a bit, but that's a great way to get going. We'll see what kind of a run Tucker has down the back straightaway from that push. Alfie Sharon leads it for the time being, but now Tucker steams on by, takes the top spot. Tucker to the lead, Prale second, Klein running third side by side with Alfie Sharon. Tucker leads that lap. Prell still in the second spot. Chris Klein working the outside. Had some drafting help with Ken Couch, but Couch goes topside. Moves Dana Shepard in behind. Klein's going to lose some momentum out of that little change of position. I don't know if Couch was making that move intentionally, but no, Alfie Charon's going to drop out of line. He's going to go to the back too. Still doesn't like what he's starting to see. He's going to get out of the chaos. Now Drew Prell to the race lead. Gets by Michael Tucker. Chris Klein around the outside trying to go by Prell. Couch picked up by Zach Millett on the far outside line. Awfully aggressive here early on, not even halfway here from Talladega Superspeedway. Prell changing lanes, trying to block the run. Chris Klein says, I can move too. He goes up for that ultra topside. Plenty of momentum coming. Oh, but 44, Shepard gets to the inside of Chris Klein. Thought he was going to stick with him, but jumps to the bottom, but no help for the 44. Ken Couch still slots in behind the 18. Klein still stays out in front of this race for the time being, but guys are starting to gang up. Still no drafting help. Dana Shepard has picked up Drew Prell now. Hopefully that inside line can continue on and build some momentum, but currently Ken Couch jumps to the top spot in front of the 32 of Nick Biddy. Kelleher in the 73/37. Race leader off turn 2. It's Ken Couch for the time being. Change of position for second. Nick Biddy just a foot in front of Chris Klein. Then it's Dana Shepard, Josh Kelleher, the top 5. Got Ginger Parent in the chat, says Shepard must have eaten his Wheaties today, looking fast. Certainly is. Good to be out in front. Klein trying to decide on what line to block, but I think he's going to shuffle himself into the middle there with no partners to dance with. Gets lucky enough to tuck in behind Ken Couch in front of Nick Biddy. Topside though, Sean Roberts looking to make some hay in behind the 15 of Matt Crockett. PJ Cox, Drew Blaze pushing Zach Millett to the front of the field off turn number 2. Zach Millett back to the lead. On board with the 315, looking back at Drew Blaze. Hello. Both Millett and Blaze cracking 200 miles an hour at the end of the straightaway. Third place is PJ Cox. Sean Roberts into the top 5. Chris Klein 5th. Just past the 1/3 mark here at Talladega Superspeedway. On board with Drew Blaze as he runs in that second position right behind Zach Millett. Both drivers know the championship has been decided. It's going to come down to just who's going to win this race. They're going to fight it out awful hard, I imagine. A little check up from Blaze there to give Millett some space. Also got to wonder how long these guys can run right up the back bumper of another race car. We saw in practice a couple of guys actually losing an engine after only a few laps tucked in behind. Something to keep an eye on. PJ Cox and Dana Shepard now fighting for that 5th position. Shepard has it for the time being, but PJ Cox wants it. Just edges himself ahead of the 44. He's got some drafting help. Sean Robertson, Chris Klein, where Shepard's got to find a place to slot back in. Maybe can sniff a little draft off of the one of Drew Blaze. PJ Cox takes over that 5th position. Shepard loses more than a couple here. He's back in the 8th spot now. Nathan Line 9th. Matt Crockett 10th. Out in front, changing the lead. Drew Prail goes to the top spot as we've got, looks like a pit stop coming here. PJ Cox, I believe, yes, PJ is going to come to pit lane. Off cycle, it seems, for PJ Cox. Just taking some fuel here. I'm going to make that assumption. Interesting, he's coming to pit lane by himself. It's not going to set him up for a good position getting back out during green flag conditions. He's going to need some drafting help. PJ Cox, after a 12-second stop, going through the gears, exiting pit lane. Cannot rejoin the racing surface, per se, until he gets off of turn number 2. There's that blue cone to indicate that PJ can rejoin the racetrack. Looks like he might have gotten out there ahead of the leaders, but again, he doesn't have a drafting partner, so they're still going to reel him in relatively quick. About a half straightaway from the race leader, Zach Millett, to PJ Cox, and that pit stop's not really going to help him a lot as far as pace is concerned. He really needs to cross his fingers and hope that a caution comes out. He can cycle back to the top spot. Millett, the lead over Sean Roberts. Chris Klein just taking a look to the outside of the 66. Blaze runs in 4th. Prail up into the 5th position. Keep an eye on the 80, though. He's still got Mike Tucker in behind. You know how good of a pusher the 39 is. Back to the trioval, and you see how quickly the leaders have reeled in the 05 of PJ Cox. He'll pick up a draft, but he's going to get lapped in the meantime. So PJ Cox, first car, 1 lap down. Things calming down here at Talladega Super Speedway. Everyone's somewhat content running single file, at least for the time being. Top 3 have gotten away from Drew Blaze. Blaze might be trying to keep that engine cool. And we talked about that a little bit. A little too much pushing, increased engine temperature. Again, we did see some guys lose engines in practice, aggressively drafting. Effectively, you're sealing off the nose of the race car, not letting any of that cool air into the radiator to cool the engine. There is a bit of a trade-off. Years ago, drivers or teams for that matter, were allowed to make different entry points for air to get into the race car. So if they needed to cool the radiator just a little bit, you could inch out to the left or to the right just a little bit. They had an opening in the grill that they did not need to get out of the draft or pull out completely to get some fresh air into the engine. Nowadays, it's all mandated. The size of the opening, where it's located, all of that. Teams are not allowed to make any additional changes. So all those are common parts to the series. Things still unchanged. I think everyone is finally starting to settle into a good rhythm. I want to check on PJ Cox, though. He does run at the back of this field. He's picked up the draft here, so he's not going to lose too much more positions as far as that's concerned, but he will need to find a way to get back on the lead lap. And at this point, the only way he's going to get that lap back is if he stays in the position that he's in, and nobody else gets lapped, and we get a caution. With that said, though, Darren Jones about to go a lap down. In fact, there it is, the 3. Losing a lap to the leader, some damage on that machine. So now for PJ Cox's sake, he has to get by the 3, which looks like he's going to with somewhat ease, as the 3 way up the racetrack, out of the draft. And there you have it. 2 cars, 1 lap down. PJ Cox, the first car, 1 lap down. Top 4, it's Millett, Sean Roberts, Klein, Blaze, and then 5th we've got Drew Prell. Prell still got Mike Tucker on the back bumper. It's right on board with Mike Tucker and see if he gives the 80 a big old push. Now, big lift. Yeah, Tucker's saving fuel. Big time lift out of the 39. Just staying in the draft. Let this pack of cars pull me around the racetrack. I won't use my fuel. I'll save everything I got. I've said it all season long. Starting to see some racecraft out of Michael Tucker. Things are getting better for the 39. Certainly doesn't need to worry about saving his tires here, but he does need to pay attention to the fuel. It seems that he's in a position where he's taking care of that fuel right now, making sure he stays in the draft, lifts when he needs to, doesn't force the 80 to go up the racetrack and challenge for the race lead, which is all fun to watch, but it doesn't save fuel. Just past halfway here from Talladega Super Speedway. We're going to take an HBR TV side-by-side break. You won't miss a minute of the action. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Talladega Superspeedway, Zach Millett continues to lead over the 66 of Sean Roberts. 2-car draft here at the front of the field, and then about 5 car lengths back, it's the third-place machine of Chris Klein and Drew Blaze. Another 2-car draft. Then 4th and 5th. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the rest of them. Three laps complete of 75 here at Talladega Superspeedway. Still trying to figure out the thought process behind the pit stop with the 05 of PJ Cox. I don't know what his pit stop history was prior to that stop that he made at lap 29 for fuel, which ultimately put him a lap down as he came back out without a drafting partner. Still in the mix, just definitely needs that caution if he's going to get back on the lead lap. Still remains the first car 1 lap down. But with all that said, there's going to be some more pit stops before this one's out. I don't think anybody's got enough to make it all the way to the end. Again, drivers working, and there it is. Everyone's going to pull off here. Hit pit lane. It's a freaking land rush into pit road. Just about everybody heads down pit lane. A few stay out. Prell, Tucker, Line, Tiller, DePasquale. Everybody else on the lead lap hits pit road. Right side tire change for Zach Millett. Drops the jack. Does he put lefts on? Nope, right sides only. And handling not paramount here at Talladega. Left side certainly not important. Green flag pit stops just about complete. We will see some other drivers come down shortly. So they're back out at it. Now we watch the leaders. They stay on the racetrack as well. Top 2, it's Line, Tiller, and then DePasquale in 3rd. Fueled Up Motorsports drivers all working together. And then 4th is Drew Prowl. He is a ways back. 4th car in line is the 05 of PJ Cox, still not on the lead lap. Tiller giving Line a big time push down the back straightaway, trying to get as much of an advantage as possible here where they can work together. You see how much of a gap they build from their teammate, the 42 of DePasquale, car length and a half it looks like. And they stay in the gas. Looked like DePasquale took a peek to the inside thinking it was time to pit, but he's going to go at least one more. 30 laps to go here from Talladega. This will eventually be the battle for the race lead. The drivers that made their pit stops just recently. Right now it's Drew Prowl, Mike Tucker, and Zach Millett. But again, we've got a 2-car draft in Prowl and Tucker, and then behind them it's Millett, well, kind of all by himself. Drew Blaze is there as well. Millett's going to come to pit lane? No, what's going on here? Millett seemed to slow off turn 4. I don't know. Maybe these guys are a little shorter on fuel than they had planned. Leaders are in. Tiller, DePasquale, and Line all in pit lane. Certainly to be their final stop of the race. Like fuel only for all 3 drivers, Tiller, Line, and DePasquale. 12.5, 12.7, 12.7. Pit stops all pretty equal. Now they get out of this pit stop, at least some of them, with the race lead. Right now the 27 of Tiller still out in front, but man, they are coming in a hurry. He's going to lose the lead for sure, but does he keep the bottom line? He's obligated to go somewhere, and he's going to stay down low, force those guys the long way around. Drew Blaze back to the top spot here for the first time here tonight at Talladega. Chris Klein pushing, Millett there in behind, and it's Sean Roberts and Dana Shepard. That's your new top 5. PJ Cox unfortunately going down a lap again. Still the first car 1 lap down though. Caution were to come out, he's still in a good position to get that lap back. It's not over for him. Hopefully that's not the case, because he can run pretty well, especially on these super speedways. We're used to seeing him near the front. Certainly not used to seeing him a lap down or more. Nathan Lyon and Deepa Squally working together to catch that lead group. That's what this kind of racing is all about, whether it's a teammate or not. You got to find a dancing partner, someone that you trust, someone that you can work with and communicate well with. For those two drafting by themselves, you see the disadvantage they have when they're not in a big pack. The bigger pack is ganged up on them. They get to the outside with Ken Couch and Chris Gones. Brian Rose there, Alfie Charon as well. 3 HBR drivers all working together. Out front, it's Drew Blaze, Klein, Millett, Roberts, and Shepard. Blaze swaps way up the racetrack here. I think Klein's going to take the spot. I don't know if that was a planned exchange there. Again, fuel could be tight. That's kind of what we're thinking. The amount that Zach Millett slowed off at turn number 4, almost to force himself in behind some other race cars, tells me that the draft is going to be that much more important. And I don't mean for speed, I mean for saving fuel. 25 laps to go here from Talladega Super Speedway. Chris Klein back out in front. Millett still second. Then Roberts, then Shepard, then Blaze. Blaze lost a handful of spots, jumping out of line. But it'll all be worth it if it's because he's saving fuel and these guys ahead of him run out. Yep, there goes Zach Millett doing the same. He's going to drop out. We've seen this a bunch throughout the course of the race. Drivers will step out of line because they don't really like what they're seeing. It's more for a safety aspect than anything else. They don't want to wad the race car up if they can help it. But in this case, it really appears like this is all based around fuel strategy, trying to get more cars in front of you, punch a bigger hole in the air, create less drag on the race car, which in turn is going to be less fuel usage to maintain the same amount of pace. Top 10 cars all kind of in their own single file pack right now. 24 laps to go. Ken Couch leads the second group of drivers, leads Chris Gones, Brian Rose, Alfie Charon, and Nick Biddy. The key here, if we go green all the way to the end, these guys here are going to need to stay single file until it's really go time where they catch that lead pack. They cannot be messing around trying to pass each other, jockey for position. They've got to stay together. Stay organized, stay fast. The guys out in front start to jockey for position while you're single file. That's when you make up ground. Very interesting, though. We do have 2 distinct packs. 10 cars in each, plus some lappers mixed in. Back out front, change of position. Sean Roberts to the race lead. Chris Klein steps out. This is where that second group of cars can gain some ground. Seems like everybody out in this lead group knows that fuel is an issue. They'll go up and lead for a lap or two, but then they step out of line to get tucked back into the draft. Sean Roberts now the race leader. He's going to be burning the most amount of fuel out of everybody because he's breaking the plane of that air out in front of him. He's the one punching a hole in the air for everybody else that's in that draft behind him. Interesting to see that the top 4 drivers starting to get away from that other group. Prowl running 5th by himself. Mike Tucker there in P6. Mike can reel in the 80 of Prowl and start giving him a push, at least when the time is right. I think the odds for Drew Prowl are in pretty good shape. Problem is, at some point, Mike Tucker is going to decide he doesn't want to push anymore and he wants to win this race. So you got to kind of make a plan with that guy. Hey, when do you plan on going so I know when to get some other help? Because you're going to need it. Oh, Tucker pushes him down the inside of the racetrack, though, unintended. But you got to be careful if you're going to push through the corner because that's what can happen. Prowl does a good job to keep his foot in it and out of the grass or the safer barrier for that matter. Prowl continues to run 5th, but they're reeling in that top 4 group again. And as we talked, that second group of 10 cars, now they're intermingled with the lead group of 10. So we've got one solid pack as Chris Goins steps out of line, trying to make the move around Ken Couch. Has to tuck back in behind the 08 machine. Sean Roberts continues to lead over Dana Shepard, Drew Blaze, Zach Millett. Outside line's moving. Chris Goins pushing the 08 of Ken Couch. The outside lane now up to 4th. It's a massive push from Chris Goins. You've got 3 HBR drivers pushing the 08 of Ken Couch down the back straightaway. We'll see if we can reel him in again. Maybe go for the race lead into turn 3. Another good run out of turn number 2 by the 08. Big push. Now Zach Millett slots in. Now it's HBR with 4 cars together. They all go topside. They're going to hang the 08 out to dry. Send him in the middle. He's going to drop like a rock. Now you got to wonder, can these guys push each other all together without wrecking each other? What a good Monday morning meeting. Not a bad one. In this case, it'd be Friday, but whatever. You know what I mean. Chris Goins now to the point of the outside line, pushing for that race lead. It'll be the first laps he's led all day. Gets a nose out in front of Sean Roberts for the time being, and he's got 3 teammates out the rear view mirror. Alfie drops to the bottom to close off the low lane. So do the top 2. Charon, Millett, Rose, and Goins in 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Yes, I did it backwards. They worked together. As soon as Millett had the opportunity to slot in with his teammates, he did so. Now we got a 4-car powerhouse at the front of the field. Sean Roberts in the 5th spot. The battle for P6 in behind with Nathan Line and Dana Shepard. Matt Sisler pushing the 38. He'll help out behind the 93. Keep looking at this number 93 machine that Sisler's driving. I can't help but think an old sponsorship. I don't know if it was Dave Blaney in an Amoco car. Might even been the same number. I can't recall, but man, it's bringing back some memories for some reason. Out front, Chris Goins continues to lead over Brian Rose, Zach Millett, Alfie Charon, and Sean Roberts. Roberts led a multitude of laps earlier on in this race, but with 16 laps to go, HBR has dropped the hammer. These guys are really going to need to gang up on the top 4 if they're going to get anything done here. 15 and a half laps to go as they work the back straightaway. Field into turns 3 and 4. The top 5 single file. 6th and 7th side by side. 8th and 9th, the same story. Shepard, Line, Blaze, and Sisler battling for position. We've got 15 laps remaining here from Talladega Super Speedway. Cody Dean in the stream chat helping us out again. The 93 was his Amoco car. Similar. Also strikes me as a Kenny Schrader 49 BAM Racing. Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah, we're talking about Matt Sisler. We'll try to zoom in here the best that we can. That number 93, I don't know. I just see Amoco on the side of that thing. Either way, it's a sharp-looking car. It might even be a Sam Mayer knockoff. I don't know, but I like it. Pit stops. Some drivers coming down. Chris Klein being one of them. Very interesting. Late race pit stops for some of these drivers that came down earlier. Do the leaders still need to make another stop? I thought these guys were good to go. Apparently not. Chris Klein in the box. It's Joe David, Chris Klein, Nick Biddy. 6 drops the jack and goes. Chris Klein's still there. Oh, Chris Klein might have been dinged on entry. Nick Biddy, maybe the same thing. We might have 2 pit penalties onto these guys. Tough break for both of them. They are having a strong night going. Meanwhile, Chris Goins continues to lead with 12 laps remaining. Top 4 drivers, all HBR, Goins, Rose, Millett, Charon. Alfie Charon took a look below the yellow line on the backstretch there. I don't know if he's trying to get some air on the nose or if he's signaling he's getting ready to make a pit stop. We're going to find out soon enough. Leaders stay out on the racetrack. It'll be 11 laps to go when they cross the stripe. Cody says more Amoco feels, but do you know what Amoco stands for? We're not talking AMCO. AMCO's the sponsor of this series, but we're talking Amoco, and I should know this, but I don't think I do. So Cody, go ahead and let us know. We're all for some trivia once in a while. Top 8 drivers all in single file formation down the back straightaway. It's still Goins, Rose, Millett, Charon, and Roberts the top 5. Then Dana Shepard, Matt Sisler, and Drew Blaze all in that line together. Still an unknown if the drivers will need to make one more pit stop for fuel before this one is out. Remember, Millett and others were saving fuel rather aggressively after that most recent pit stop. I believe it was back on lap 44 and 45. Usually if you know you're going to need to pit again, you're not worried about trying to save like that. If it's close, like you might be able to make it, yeah, you're going to save. So we'll have to see, because some drivers we thought were good to go were not. They've already made that pit stop. 9.5 laps to go for Chris Goins. Ken Couch leading the second group of drivers still. Drew Prowl, Mike Tucker, John Tiller, Nathan Line, and others. We talked about it earlier on in the race, not too long ago. If they can get formed up single file, they might be able to reel these guys in if they start switching positions. They don't have the numbers that lead pack has at only 6. They're only a couple shy. If they can get together, get organized, single file, not worry about racing the next guy. I know it's late in this race, but they can catch that lead pack. And more pit stops. Man, oh man, here they come. Brian Rose, Goins, Millett, Blaze, Roberts, Charon, Shepard, Sisler, Braille, Couch, Tucker, Tiller, Line, Deep Pasquale, Keller, Redding. Pretty much the whole field coming down pit road here late with 9 laps to go, almost 8 laps to go. The final pit stop for fuel only. Who's going to be the fast guy out? First one to leave, it's going to be Drew Blaze, then Brian Rose, and Sean Roberts will be the top 3. Remember, there's some fast drivers still out there that don't need to pit, that are already at full song. We'll see if they reel these guys in. Darren Jones down on the lead lap. He's going to go on by. Right now, Blaze listed as the race leader. And to further clarify, Nick Biddy and Chris Klein both too fast on entry for their pit penalty. It was fuel only, but it cost them an additional 40 seconds, so that's going to kill their race. Brian Rose goes by. Drew Blaze takes over the race lead, but puts a couple of cars between himself and the teammates. It's Drew Blaze, Sean Roberts, Matt Sisler, then Chris Goins. Michael Tucker pushing the 41 just slightly on the outside, not willing to give too much of a push to the 41. Coming to 7 laps remaining. Rose with a big push from Drew Blaze. Blaze has got to be careful, though. We talked about engine problems and overheating if you get in behind a guy for too long. With 7 laps to go, that's a lot of pushing to do and still keep that motor together. Outside line, Michael Tucker pushing Chris Goins like crazy. You see that rear end swapping back and forth. The 41 trying to stay straight down the back straightaway. Carrying a lot of momentum, though, with Zach Millett in behind Michael Tucker. I think the 315 is a little bit nervous at the aggression level out of the 39. He's not in a position where he can change spots right now. Biddy and Klein, the lap cars on the top side. Goins to the race lead, coming to 6 laps to go. Goins trying to pull that outside line around so that his teammates can get lined up with him. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Top 2 could drop down if they wanted, but Goins stays on the high side, keeping the numbers up in the outside line. Tucker taking a peek to the inside, nothing doing there. Chris Goins right now, I want to dump in front of my teammate Brian Rose on the bottom lane. It would help the numbers in the low side. It would get you off the 39 of Michael Tucker, who was just pushing the daylights out of the 41. It would make me nervous as a driver. I know they've had a good luck with it throughout the course of this race, but at some point that luck is going to run out. We got 5 laps to go. Chris Goins still out in front. Shepard drops in front of Brian Rose. Shepard down the racetrack, slides up, tries to avoid, makes a little bit of contact. Brian Rose goes around. He might avoid the wall. He straightens it up, but no. Caution comes out with 4 laps to go. Well, let's watch it. Dana Shepard got it down to the apron of the racetrack. I thought he had it saved. Caution came out a little late here, but let's get a better look at it. Might have been off the nose of Brian Rose. Yeah, just got a little off to the left while trying to push. Guy's doing an excellent job again to avoid making hard contact with the 44. Well, caution's out. Looks like Nick Biddy may get the lap back here. With this late caution, though, we're going to take a quick aside. Get a break out of the way before we come back for the finish. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I need to cut across 8 lane. None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
Back at Talladega Super Speedway. Well, it was the Talladega Super Speedway 75, but now we're going to go to our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. A little bit of NASCAR overtime for you. How does it work? Well, green flag's going to come out. As soon as it does, it'll be 2 laps to go. The next flag will be the white flag, hopefully. If we get that white flag before any chaos ensues out on the racetrack, like a yellow flag, that will be it. We'll get back around, and that'll be the race. But if the caution comes out before the white, well, we'll line them up, do it all over again. Pace car about to hit pit road. Again, a long tri-oval before we get back to the start-finish line. You'll see the Geico restart zone come into play here in just a moment. To the left of the 41. And there it is.
Green flag.
Green flag back in the air. Michael Tucker gets freight trained on the outside, but he's got help coming. Lots of pushers there in behind the 39. Drew Prahl. Sean Roberts, the 27. A lot of fast drivers here looking for a checkered flag. 2 laps to go from Talladega Super Speedway. Chris Goins leads it. Millett second. Blaze is third. Tucker and Prahl 4th and 5th, and the battle is on behind them. 2 cars dropping weight on the racetrack. Elfie Sharon out of shape for a moment off the nose of Ken Couch. Tucker switches it up. He's back to the inside. Thought he was going to block off the lane there. Chris Goins stays out in front. Coming to the white flag. Final lap from Talladega. Oh, trouble. Round goes Joe David, collecting other drivers as well, but this is it. We're going to battle it out all the way to the end. Chris Goins, Millett, Blaze. Then you got Tiller, Tucker, and Drew Prahl fighting it out here the back straightaway on the final lap at Talladega Super Speedway. It's 2 by 2 by 2. What are we, building an arc? What's going on here? Oh, shuffled out Michael Tucker off the nose of Drew Prahl. Prahl now to the outside. Battle may be on here, but I think it's going to come down to Chris Goins or Zach Millett. But then again, stranger things have happened here at Talladega Super Speedway. Off turn 4 for the final time. They still need to make it through this tri-oval. Chris Goins with the race lead. No run coming from Zach Millett, but to the inside. Drew Blaze makes the move. He's going to take second, but Chris Goins is going to take the win. Chris Goins, your race winner here at Talladega Super Speedway. Chris Goins, his first win of the season, coming in the season finale here at Talladega Super Speedway. Had a strong run at Watkins Glen last week and backs it up with a win here at Dega. Everybody doing burnouts here on the start-finish line. Zach Millett, of course, celebrating a championship. Chris Goins celebrating the race win. While these two destroy their six-figure race cars, we'll step aside, get a break out of the way, be back with our top three finishers after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As that's still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Back at Talladega Super Speedway, our top 3 ready to be chatted with. Chris Goins, your race winner. First win on the season for the driver of the number 41 Popple Teams entry. Doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you get to victory lane. Chris Goins has done just that. Chris, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got me?
Yes, sir, Steve. I got you.
Chris, congratulations, man. I wouldn't necessarily go far to say it was a dominant performance, but once you got out in front, you really didn't look back. Walk us through at least the final third of this race, the pit stops, and then getting back out there and eventually holding off Zach Millett and Drew Blaze for this win.
Yeah, we, right there in the middle, we kind of got shuffled back to that second pack, and we had a couple teammates that were back there, so we kind of made a executive decision as a whole to drop back and pick everybody up and see if we could run our way back up there. So after that first set of pit stops, we kind of gained some time back and then was able to get back up there, and we figured that was as good a time as any to go. So we shifted out to the outside and just kind of pushed around the outside and was just hoping that it would get us up there enough to maintain. And luckily I got some excellent teammates over here, and that we kind of worked together on that restart to kind of get out in front and able to just kind of hold them off there at the end.
Well, holding them off there at the end, we had to survive that one green-white checkered finish. I know things kind of went a little chaotic in the rear-view mirror. Did you see anything that was going on from your perspective? Did it change anything you were going to do on that final lap?
Not really. I could kind of see a little bit of it unfold in the mirror. I try to avoid looking at the mirror as much as possible there at the end. You can't win looking in the mirror, right? You got to look out the windshield, see where you're going. So just kind of pay attention to where they're moving and kind of move with them, just out of my peripherals and stuff. But just kind of kept the head down and hope that picked the right lane there and was able to, stay out in front. So just hate restrictor plate racing or draft tracks or whatever they call it nowadays. But luckily our luck was on our side this time.
Well, for a guy that isn't really a big fan of these places, you do tend to run pretty well here. You proved it again here tonight, bringing home that checkered flag. Congratulations. Got it done before the season was out, so nice job there. Don't need to worry about the drought buster next week because you busted your own drought tonight. Congratulations, Chris, man. Who do you want to thank?
Thanks. I appreciate it, Steve. One of these days, we'll actually win one of these before the last race of the season. This is 2 years in a row. So, I want to thank Popple, primary sponsor on the car. You over here at HBR TV. I always love going back and watching these. My guys over at HBR, I mean, obviously none of this is possible without them, with all the help there from those guys. So, Castle Products, Eric Dotson Agency, Trek Bar Media, HBRShops.com, Martin Sports, Right Turn Wraps. I think that's everything for right now. But hopefully we can get them again and next season.
Sounds good to me, Chris. Again, congratulations and enjoy next week off.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Chris Goins, your race winner here at Talladega Super Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to Drew Blaze, our runner-up. We'll pull the driver of the one up into the broadcast booth and get a word from Drew Blaze here and find out exactly how he pulled that last, 100-yard pass off on Zach Millett. Drew, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Drew, congratulations, man. A good season as always, not just from the driver's seat, but in helping run this thing. You guys have done an awesome job. It just gets better and better year after year, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's get to the race. You finished second here tonight, not able to take home that checkered flag, but after a 20th place start, a runner-up, I guess, isn't too bad. With that said, walk us through that final lap in that green-white checkered. What did it take to get around Zach Millett there in those last 100 yards?
Yeah, I coming around to the white flag, I started kind of backing up Zach and Chris, trying to let them get out by themselves a little bit so I could get a run up. And I did a little bit, but I couldn't back off as much as I wanted to because obviously the train behind me, I wanted to go for it. So, but yeah, I got a little bit of a run, and then Hiller tried to go to the inside, and I thought we were gonna get a run, but he kind of got in the back of me a little bit. I threw a little bit of a block, I guess. I don't know if it was a block. I didn't really intend on it being a block, but kind of just happened that way. But yeah, that kind of just killed my momentum. Then I had to build it all back up again. I got enough to get past Zach, but fortunately not Chris, but I'm super happy for Chris, definitely.
Well, Drew, it was a strong run, and again, a great season for you guys, not just for you yourself, but everybody in this league. You guys did a great job running it, and the guys did a great job racing it. I'm just happy to be a part of it for the last handful of years. Hopefully we can meet up again in the future here and do some more of these.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing is set in stone for the future of the league, but I know myself and Justin will be taking a step back. May have some guys come on and keep this thing up and running. It just depends who the guys are, and if we think they can do a good job that holds up to league standards over the past couple of years. But regardless, thank you, Steve, for everything, all the broadcasts and the pictures, the interviews, everything you do. Just an amazing job, and that's why we stuck with you through all these years. And got to thank all the drivers for just showing up every week, regardless of where they are in points, or if they're out of it or whatever the case may be. They still showed up week in and week out and put on some good races. So yeah, and thank you lastly to everybody that's been watching and supporting us, and everybody behind the scenes, Justin, the whole team, just everybody. It's been a great experience, and we'll see what the future holds.
All right, Drew. Well, again, congratulations on the whole gambit, the race, the season, the league. 100% awesome job. Thanks for talking to us, man. And I think you got a race win this season. You going to be racing next week? You're just going to admin that thing?
No, I'm just gonna admin. I'm looking forward to seeing who picks up their first win and breaks the drought.
Certainly looking forward to it. Drew, again, awesome job, man. Good to talk to you, and we'll do it again sometime.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Drew Blaze, your runner-up here at Talladega Super Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to Zach Millett, your third-place finisher in tonight's race, but of course, our overall champion. We weren't able to get that addressed last week. We weren't 100% sure, so we didn't want to, well, step on our own toes, for lack of a better term. But Zach Millett, Steve in the booth, you got me.
Hey, Steve, got a copy.
Zach, congratulations, man. Third place finish here at Talladega after the EOL to start things off. Early caution, well, half a lap we got that first caution. You get caught up, guys take the opportunity to pit. You're in the top 10 almost immediately, and it wasn't long after that. You're out in front. Spent some time leading the race, didn't stay there the whole time. A lot of pit strategy involved. But ultimately, came down to you and Chris Goins coming to the line, but Drew Blaze sneaks to the inside, takes that second position away. Walk us through that final lap and that last restart.
Yeah, I mean, these Talladega races are crazy, man. We had a good restart. We were tucked in behind our teammate Goinsy there, and I really wanted to keep him out front. I know he had a pretty good battle. I think it was with Tiller for third in the points, so just trying to do the teammate thing and stick with him. And man, Drew came out of nowhere. You know, he had a hell of a run on the bottom side there. And I think if I pulled down in front of Blaze there at the end, I think with the run that he had, I think it would have pushed me past Chris. So I think I made the right move. You know, third place is still pretty decent. And we still got Goinsy to win. So it was pretty cool, man. It worked out pretty good.
After last week's dominating performance at the Glen, you come here tonight. Didn't need to worry about necessarily points racing by any means because you locked up that championship by taking the green. You could have just come out here with all reckless abandon and just gone for the race win, but instead you help a teammate. I kind of admire that. By the same token, I got to ask why. I mean, you got to go out here. You're going to run these races. You won 10 races this year. Why not 11?
I don't know. I guess we like really nice even numbers, Steve. I'm just kidding, man. You know, I like to look out for my teammates, man. If it wasn't for them, this just wouldn't be fun. You know, if you go out there and you win every single race of the season, but you're by yourself, I mean, that's pretty lame. You know, at the end of the day, you won, yeah, but it's pretty damn boring that way. So we're surrounded by really good people and drivers, you know, especially over in HBR. It's a pleasure to be a part of the team, and we look forward to the practice, not just the race, but the practice together and trying to make each other better and just enjoying the season race for race, man. And yeah, I just look forward to the next one already.
Certainly looking forward to it again, the final race of the season tonight. We do have the Drought Buster next week, but the race winners will not be a part of that. That race is specifically designed to get somebody who didn't hit victory lane this season a chance at a race win. So that'll be, I think, Kansas Speedway next week. Zach, I don't know if you're around. If you are, maybe we can have you up here in the broadcast booth for it.
That would be actually perfect, Steve. I'll be off at least from work, so yeah, I'll jump in the booth, man.
Sounds like a good plan, Zach. Congratulations again on the Lone Star Racing Cup Series title and the third place finish here at Talladega Super Speedway. Lastly, who do you want to thank?
Steve, I got to thank you, HBR TV, for the broadcast all season long. Tremendous job as always. HBRTV1.com, trackbarmedia.com. Hit up Ryan Rose for any kind of video editing you might need. HBRshops.com, Castle Products. Brandon Minnick Trailers, big thanks to them for the sponsorship for this season. He took care of us all season long and got us into this, so big thanks to him because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. What's that?
It's kind of funny that you say that because HBR TV wouldn't be here covering this if it weren't for Brandon Minnick either, because I think going back now 3 years, he was the one that originally reached out to us to cover these races.
Yeah, I mean, he's smart, man. You know, he reached out to the best, and I mean, if you go back and watch the season race for race, it's awesome. It's great to see it. You know, it's on YouTube. It doesn't go anywhere. We get to go back and watch any race we want, anytime we want, and yeah, it's awesome. I love it. And besides that, I guess shoot me a follow over on Twitch and YouTube at ThatIs4Guy.
Zach Millett, congratulations, man, on a wonderful season, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, buddy.
Zach Millett, your third place finisher and champion here at Talladega Super Speedway. Let's take a look at our race results. We talked to Chris Goins, the winner, Drew Blaze, the runner-up, Zach Millett, the champion. Fourth was John Tiller. Drew Prale finishes out with a top 5 in the 5th position. I did say Tiller was 4th, just making sure I didn't miss him. 6th place was Michael Tucker, Nathan Lyne 7th, Johnny DePasquale was 8th, Dana Shepard 9th, Nick Biddy finished in the 10th spot. Brian Rose was 11th. Matt Sisler came home in the 12th spot. Alfie Charon Jr. strong early on. I don't know if he just got shuffled back or if he was involved in that late race crash, but he finishes 13th. Sean Roberts was 14th. Jesse Redding 15th. Ken Couch came home in the 16th spot. 17th went to Josh Kelleher. PJ Cox, after an interesting pit call early, still not sure what the process there was. He finishes 18th, though he did stay on the lead lap. Joe David was 19th. 20th went to Dustin Rogerson. Chris Klein was 21st. Matt Crockett 22nd. And last but not least, the 3 of Darren Jones finishes 23rd, 4 laps down. Gotta thank you guys all for tuning in this season. It's been a blast to cover these guys year in and year out. Unfortunately, it seems that the oval side might be taking a bit of a breather until things get some squared away, but don't worry, we will be back here in the month of May for some road course racing, also put on by this same league, the Lonestar Racing. Going to be GT3 and GTP and LMP2 racing. It's going to be a blast. Sports car series, I think we're running 10, 12 races this year, so be sure to catch all that action here at HBR TV1. You can find those broadcast links in the live tab at hbrtv1.com. We're not going anywhere. We may have dialed back our schedule a little bit, but we're not disappearing just yet. More Lone Star Racing to come. No Bull Racing Series coming up pretty soon. Don't have any dates confirmed just yet, but don't worry, it's on the horizon. And then we've also got some more Numb Thumbs Racing League coming up, I believe in July. Late July, we'll have the Gen 6 Cup car to watch go around these races. Certainly looking forward to that. One of my favorite cars on the sim, certainly above and beyond even this next gen or the Gen 7 car that we ran here tonight. But either way, plenty of action in store going into spring and summer. I got to thank you guys again for tuning in each and every week that you're here. Stream chatters alike. Cody Dean, very chatty here this evening. I do appreciate that. Matt Sisler, we had Dan Parent, Ginger Parent. Who else did we have? Tucker family, as always. Jason Blaney, thanks for saying hello. Sandra Nielsen cheered on Johnny DePasquale tonight. Justin Johnson making an appearance as well. Who else? I think that was everybody. If I forgot anybody or missed you, I apologize, but just know that I do appreciate you guys being here each and every week. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and click the thumbs up, like the stream, share it if you're so inclined, but at least a like. It's free to do, and it helps us a lot. I do appreciate that. With that said, I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, congratulating Chris Goins on the race win and Zach Millett on his championship. Thanks for watching, everybody. You guys have a good night.
Watch how the moon sits in the sky on a dark night, shining with the light from the sun. The sun doesn't give light to the moon, assuming the moon's gonna owe it one. It makes me think of how you act for me. You do favors there rapidly. You just turn around and start asking me about things that you want back from me. I'm sick of the tension, sick of the hunger, sick of you acting like I owe you this. Find another place to feed your greed while I find a place to rest. I wanna be in another place. I hate when you say you don't understand. Just like you and step on people like you do and run away all the people I thought I knew. I remember back then who you were. You used to be calm, used to be strong, used to be generous, but you should have known that you wear out your welcome, and now you see how quiet it is all alone. I'm so sick of the tension, sick of the hunger, sick of you acting like I owe you this. Find another place to feed your greed while I find a place to rest. I'm so sick of the tension, sick of the hunger, sick of you acting like I owe you this. Find another place to feed your greed while I find a place to rest. I wanna be in another place. I hate when you say you don't understand. I wanna be in the energy, not with the enemy. A place for my head. You try to take the best of me, go away. You try to take the best of me, go away. You try to take the best of me.